but honestly have just provided us with a treasure trove of really bad takes. Unless there's anything you want more to get there, I think this next segment will be a lot of fun. So Matt hasn't gone through this yet, but I'm trying to bring back an old segment that we used to do on TMBS a while ago. We haven't done any in a little while, but going back and visiting our friend Thomas Friedman in La La Land. Otherwise known as the New York Times opinion section. This is a little Christmas gift to everybody out there. Some really wishful thinking. There's a great line that Alexander Cockburn, one of the great journalists, used to say, is like, I love it when liberals try to think constructively. And this is a great example of that. So I just figured we'll just do a little read through of this real gem. Here we go, from Thomas Friedman. Will Trump force principled conservatives to start their own party? I hope so. And before we even go any further, let's also just remember that, Matt was just, very eloquently describing the continued excesses and monstrosity of U.S. empire. That is, don't get me wrong, 100% consequence of the Democratic Party. But let's not forget that it was the neocons under George Bush who really lit the fire on this horrific war that is now going on for multiple decades now, generations war, right? So when we talk about principled conservatives, it's really hard to imagine what somebody like Thomas Friedman is thinking of. But okay, let me get into this because his prose style is so good too. As the Trump presidency heads into sunset, kicking and screaming, one of the most important questions that will shape American politics at the local, state, and national levels is this: can Donald Trump maintain his iron grip over the Republican Party when he is out of office? This is what we know for sure. He damn well intends to try and is amassing a pile of cash to do so. And here's what I predict. If Trump keeps delegitimizing Joe Biden's presidency and demanding loyalty for his extreme behavior, the GOP could fully fracture, splitting between principled Republicans and unprincipled Republicans. Trump then might have done America the greatest favor possible, stimulating the birth of a new principled conservative party.
Oh, yeah, this is going to happen.
Santa, if you're listening, that's what I want for Christmas.
Yeah. Can I list a few other things we know for sure?
Yeah.
Which is that, like, Donald Trump's approval rate among the Republican Party is like higher than Reagan. He also just completely stacked the judiciary for them and won them redistricting for another 10 years. So I think that they probably will not see the urgency of shifting course.
No, why would you? I'm sorry. Honestly, this is just like the only people who are, if you're like a right winger, right? The people who don't like Donald Trump at this point in the Republican Party are people in high society, right? Who don't like sort of being attacked for being known Republicans, right? They are just tired of their other rich Democratic friends sort of, harassing them about how uncouth Donald Trump is, right? Like, this is not something that the average GOP voter is like sitting up at night. They're happy to watch all this happen. And as Matt just pointed out, not only is Donald Trump extremely popular, he's done more for the map for the GOP on the presidential level is not favorable to them. And Donald Trump just delivered their best vote total, right? In history. Look, yes, he did lose to Joe Biden, but 70 million votes, right? I mean, that is not something that they're just going to be able to walk away from. And that's why Donald Trump and Trumpism is not going anywhere anytime soon. And that's why they're all like, the thing is, like, they're not going to do a coup for Trump, right? And it's really funny to watch. I have to say that Donald Trump really wants them to do it and they're not going to, right? But they've got everything that they need from him. He's delivered them into, the next decade with some kind of viability that they felt where they were losing. And now that he's not going to be president anymore, they don't have to deal with his stuff directly as, him being president. Like, if you're a GOP person, this is like the perfect situation for you to be in. And they're not going to all come out and say like, wow, those past 4 years were a disaster, because they were really good for the GOP. Oh, Matt, you're muted.
And their voters liked it. I just wanted to pull up the end of that Trump speech because that's actually a really funny part. I don't know if you remember that.
Should I stop share?
No. Here's this real quick. This is a very tail end of Trump talking about getting people.
Or $4,000 for a couple. I'm also asking Congress to immediately get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items from this legislation. and to send me a suitable bill, or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package. And maybe that administration will be me, and we will get it done.
That was so good. Maybe the next year.
Maybe. Hey, look, I don't know if you're going to prom, but I plan on going to prom. If you're not going to prom with anybody, maybe the person you could be going to prom with is me.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, look, it's so delusional. It's like it's very funny. Like I've had the unfortunate opportunity to spend a little bit of time these past couple of weeks watching cable news, and it's wild actually to be because you realize there is like this alternate universe that a lot of these liberals are living in right now, where it's like wall to wall. It's like Donald Trump, unprecedented, trying to delegitimize the presidency and like the rule. It's like first of all, like that's what he's been doing since he got started, right? Second of all, we're actually watching our country dissolve into pure chaos because our government can't perform the most basic functions right now. And even their response to that, don't get me wrong, insane, delusional speech that Donald Trump gave last night, it wasn't anything about the kind of politics of it. It was all, oh my God. And at the end of it, Donald Trump again said that he's going to be the president, right? Honestly, that was the most, like, if that is the scariest thing, is like, and maybe the next administration will be me, right? If like that to you is like the alarm bells, after everything that's happened, it's so delusional, but it's just a reminder that these people really aren't living on the same planet as us.
No, it's Arrested Development, really.
And I like this piece a lot because I won't bore everyone with reading all of it, but I like just go back to some good Friedmanisms. Throughout the piece, he's always hedging his bet. He's like wishful thinking, maybe, just constantly. He's like, I think this, but also it might not happen, right? It's like, okay, so are you really even saying anything at this point? A lot of like, nonsense about Mitt Romney, the one principled Republican, who people forget like how racist and disgusting of a right-wing campaign he came up against Obama.
Literally
and Biden.
Kissed Trump's ring. Or you're talking about Obama Biden? I'm
talking about Romney Obama. I mean, that was like this is not some guy who represents any kind of principle, right? Unless the principle is defending the rich and powerful and enabling a horrible white supremacist like backlash in this country, right? That's what they're talking about when they're talking about principled Republicans. And I mean, what else? It's just like it's very frustrating to realize that these people speak to folks around the country, and people are like, oh, this is a reasonable position, right? Oh, wow, look at somebody who's like considerably on the left, wants there to be a strong Republican Party. I don't. It's not moral to like love your enemies, right? Like if you are on the left, you should hate the GOP and everything that they represent and stand for, right? Because they represent the interest of capital, the interest of imperialism, and white supremacy. And anyways, I'm getting heated.
Well, I got one for you that might make you more heated. So you wonder who might be. This is who's talking to people around the country, right? But if you let me share here, we got figured out who's talking to the columnists, and his name's Uncle Joe. Biden going old school and meeting with newspaper columnists, including Gerald F. Seib. Biden tells them why he's optimistic on bipartisanship. Republicans are beginning to realize that there is a center that has to be responded to. That quote is actually maybe what explains their it's exactly what explains their silence about this $2,000 thing, because if they want the center to have been like we already talked about it, he gave them the confidence. Look, Joe, you need to tell them to give them the confidence to be pussies and to not ask for anything and just fold up. And that's what Joe did. And now that they get the chance to like fold back out and, hey, wait a second, maybe we can actually fight. No, if you fight now, that makes that little gambit of making sure the center has a voice, like that goes up and fucking good riddance. We need to destroy that. Like, so I mean, thank God for David Sirota for being like, and Day and the people that are really on that beat of like, of what the center is trying to do, particularly like in this awful moment of Biden being the center, I guess, guy, and Pelosi and Schumer somehow representing the left. We need to blow that shit up. And I'm glad I hope this is a good sign. But I'll count it as a good sign when the $2,000 are in people's bank accounts.
I think so too. And so, like, look, I think everybody understands that bipartisanship is an absolutely frightening word.